Right, morning guys. I'm just trying to freaking flare out of that light. So it's not so bad anyway. Back here this morning, so I got a big chunk of aluminum. Dad's got a power hacksaw there. I'm going to try and see whether I can cut a hunk off the end of this instead of trying to turn it off, because poor old lathe, I haven't really got a parting tool for it. So it'd be easy just for me to cut a piece off, hopefully with the power hacksaw. I think it would do it, and at least then I can just sort of concentrate on a piece that's slightly longer than what I need, if you know what I mean, instead of trying to part it off with, you know, with an old freaking 1907, and then I haven't really got a parting tool for it. It'd actually be nice to get that, I don't know what to call it. You can probably semi-modernise that if you've got one of those digital readouts and put it on the, obviously on the different feeds, so you know how far you're going in and out and whatever, like your X, Y, and your fucking whatever else, your Z or whatever, however you want to call it. Because then you could actually set up like a 0 and all that shit, and you could actually have a half decent feed. And if you actually probably had a better, could still have the old belt driven, but have maybe a slightly more modern motor or a stronger motor that would actually run it at a slightly better speed, because it will cut threads and all that sort of shit. We've got all the gearing and everything there to do that. So yeah, it'd be quite nice to be able to use some of that stuff, but it's just, yeah, because you have got no measurements on the dials, you know, so at least you can't even look and go, well, I've just wound that in 3mm, you know. There's no readout on any of the handles. It's just, yeah, it's a bit of awkward to use. Like, you can make half reasonable bits, whatever, but you got to just keep stop measuring instead of staying, you know, knowing how much you've turned off it each time, you know, and you can work out a 0 and, you know, for how much you want to cut off, you know, all that sort of shit. But yeah, it's handy, but it's just so old, it's missing a few of the things that would be really handy. So I'll drag this old power hacksaw out of there, and I'll make a mark on that with allow me a little bit to clean a face off, and yeah, we'll have another go at this piece, and I'll probably only come back to you when I've got a bit further, and whatever, I'll try and keep it short. So this section might be only a couple of 3 minutes long, hopefully, as I'm working, just to give you a couple of brief updates, just to give you where I am. You've already seen me make it once. Well, hopefully this doesn't take too long. Alrighty guys, I eventually got that off. I gave up the power hacksaw because it took like 20 minutes to frickin' get through. It wasn't probably 20 minutes, but it was a while for it to get through. See that little piece there? So I actually stuck it in the lathe, and I hunted through Dad's hacksaw stuff, and actually had this really big angry frickin' blade. So I stuck that on that. I don't know if you can see that, but she's a big aggressive bastard. She's 10 teeth. What it's for, I have frickin' no clue, but when you turn the lathe on and use that, it actually chews through quite quick. Well, I wouldn't say it was quick, but it was quicker than that. So I cut that off, and then I just did the final centerpiece just by hand. That's why there's a whole heap of marks on it, as I was just keep turning around to keep cutting it smaller. So yeah, we'll turn this up now. Yes, I'll start, eh? See, it's a little bit longer than what I need, but that gives me a little bit to face off and clean up and whatever else. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with this piece, get this down to the right width and the right depth, and work that out. Drill my hole in here probably, and maybe tap it, and then I can turn it round, and I can make this piece, well, reasonable, because I'm going to have to frickin' cut a square on it anyway. So, well, not a square, a hex on it anyway. So, yeah, it's actually, yeah, I'm just trying to think. It is bigger, but it actually feels quite a bit heavier than what that does. So it's probably a lot more dense, obviously. Anyway, we'll start with making this piece. Right guys, so quick update to where I'm at. So I've got this cut down to here. I've cut the thread in the centre. I just need to take another wee bit of a skim off it, because it won't go in just yet. Well, it does, but it's too tight, if you know what I mean. I need to take another, I don't know, another millimetre or so off it, just so it slips in there nice, and then I'll chamfer that edge, and we'll give that a dress up, and then we can turn it around and make it the other side and dress it up and get it ready to carve the nut. And I'll use this one first to just do a quick test to see if my theory is going to work with that piece of shit mill. I've got a short bolt that I can wind in there, and hopefully I can grab it on the, do it up tight, grab it in the bolt, and use the 6 sides to hold it in the jaws and turn it around to get the faces. Well, that's what I'm hoping. Now if I get it set up, and then I can go, and then I can just turn it, and it's in the exactly same distance, if you know what I mean, and I can hopefully do that and get a decent nut. I'll try it on this first to see if it's going to work, and see if I can get a half reasonable finish that I can maybe file, finish with a file or something like that, or maybe bring back here and just do a little dress up and finish with a file and make it look decent. I'll try that with that first before I do this one. But so we'll take a little bit more off this and we'll carry on. Right, so got that bit to that point. We'll go and have a play with the mill with this, with the first one I cut with that shit aluminium and or aluminum, whatever these guys want to call it, and we'll see if we can get a half reasonable result before we chew into the other one. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have to come up with a plan B or C. Right, welcome back guys, sorry, don't cut your head off. I'm going to try and use this thing to make the sides in this. So I'm going to use this piece of crap first. The plan is, okay, well, this has obviously got 6 sides on it, so you can turn it whatever way you want. So the plan is to wind this into here. Hopefully it isn't going too far. I may have to shorten this bolt because I want to wind it, better wind it right into the face and then really crank on it and lock it in there. I may have to shorten it, yeah, well, it's too long. So I'll cut the head off this, or not the head off, the a bit more of the thread off it. Wind it on, clean it up, wind it in so it's flush, and then freaking I'll put that in the, I'll clamp it in the vise, and we'll wrench on it so it's in there tight, hopefully. And then my plan is to use these sides in this vise to get this set up square, and basically we'll sit that down level, but use the head of the bolt as my guide, and hopefully this freaking thing doesn't come loose, and use it to go and then turn it around, because if I won't have to adjust this backwards and forwards and lots of shit, I should be able to just wind it past and do passes, and then set it in a little bit further, and then do more passes. So once I've got a pass and got it clean, I'll turn it around and do the next piece until I keep getting it down, obviously the full depth and whatever, seeing how this will cut with this piece of crap, and at least get an idea whether I'm going to work. I don't mind if I have to hand finish it, you know, a bit of filing and whatever, and dial it up, and then I might have to go back around to the lathe and clean up the proper one with a little bit of just more lathe work if I have to, and a bit of a polish up and clean up. I don't mind if I have to do that, as long as that will give me my 6 sides for a nut. Right guys, so this is going to work. So I've done a couple of passes on that, and because this is slightly smaller in diameter than the in here, I actually made that one slightly bigger. So this is only about 54.5 mil. Well, this is made it. This is not quite 58 mil. So I'll probably actually get the 2-inch, because that face, between face to face, is slightly under 48 mils. So 2-inch is, what did I say, about 1.2, 50.8 mils. So, and I think that's actually what, funnily fuck enough, it's a bit of a coincidence. The seat caps for these, even though this is pretty beaten up, I think it might have been originally about 2-inch. It's not quite now. It's a bit splayed out and whatever, but it was probably a rough 2-inch, be 2-inch and a wee bit. So yeah, I better get this close to what Donald goes with. If you actually had a freaking CNC mill, you actually you could probably make that east pattern up. Yeah. Actually, because we need some of these. I don't know if it's worth them finding the least damaged one, and maybe to get that guy that made the frickin' door handles to make these, but just CNC machine them, because it's only going to be the size of that thread. Like, we could give them a decent freaking up to get the thread and whatever, but yeah, get that pattern on the end of it. And if we can get this close, we might be able to get them to put that on the back too. Just sit that down there and whatever. It doesn't matter, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so that works. I won't persevere with that anymore because it's lunchtime, and when I come back, I'll do the final part. I'll see if I can get as close to 2 inches as I possibly can. Yeah, because I was quite surprised, you know, like it didn't take too much of a cut off that to actually get it to out to the edges. So yeah, I think that'll work out quite nicely with that being a little bit bigger in diameter, because I purposely measured that and I thought, oh yeah, it might be close, because I don't know, I just thought 2 inch would be a good size where you're not mucking around with anything too small. Alright guys, so just got back from lunch. I can't freaking stay very long because I've got to sort out a young man with a sore freaking back. Anyway, so I can go to about 4 o'clock to try and get this cut. It's now 2. So I'm going to try and cut this to 2 inch. See how I get on. With me frickin' piss poor fucking gear, but it's amazing what you can do with piss poor gear, I guess. So hopefully, she can do. hopefully we might be done here. This old piece of shit. It's rough, but it's, you know, good enough to be able to clean up. Yeah. So it's slightly over 2 inch now. But by the time I give it a file and smooth it off and shit, it should be fine. Yeah. It's not too bad. It's not good, but you've got a little bit of work now that'll fits me nicely. Sweet. That's a 2 inch socket. So a little dressing up. I'll give that another wee spin on the lathe, just clean that edge up once I've got it dressed. And obviously I might even bring it back in here and just where I've left that bit here sticking up, I might just bring the lathe back into there, just into the point, and just chamfer that off a little bit. And try not to touch this. I might have it so just nix this and just put a little, just maybe put a wee radius on that edge, if I can get it to do it cleanly and evenly. But I'll bring it back into here and just chamfer that edge back a little bit. It touches them and whatever, and clean that up and file this up. We'll file this first. Check the time. File these, so we can get the roughness off this one. Shouldn't be too difficult, and then we can do all the finishing. Right, so we've got a file. I might swap it over the other side so you can see a bit better. And we'll just clean these faces up a little bit. Just smooth them out with the file first, and then we can I feel like I'm on the wrong side. So I have to go back the other side. I'll just move you. So most things I can do both sides, but that just doesn't quite feel right. I know I'll get a better result if I feel a bit more comfortable. Right, so we've obviously got a bit of finishing work to do yet, but that now looks fairly tidy, and I've got a bit of dressing up to get a few marks out of it and all that sort of stuff. But I think I might go back around to Dad's, throw this back in the lathe for a bit, just chamfer that edge, chamfer this edge, get a nice chamfer on it. I might just, if I can get it to touch these reasonably evenly, I might just run it down, just knock just a little piece off these edges of these, just so it's got a nice wee, just a very slightly rounded edge. If I can get a even touch, or very close to even touch, and I'll just run across them. I don't want it to look really uneven. I won't do it if it looks really uneven, because I don't know how centered this bolt was, because it was taking slightly off more off one way. It looks fairly even. Look, it's not too bad. But if I can get a reasonable touch on each one of these, and I know I'm not going to be having like a big space that's cut off one side and just a tiny little smidgen off the other, if you know what I mean. I'll do that to try and get a nice, just a nice wee rounded edge. I could do it with this, you know, with a file or something like that. Actually, I might just do that. I might just, when I'm spinning it, just rub this across the edge, and just to round those edges off. That might be a better way to do it. Just use this and do that. Yeah, and just chamfer these edges, chamfer that a bit. And I might go in a fair way. I might go into about where that, see that mark is there when I was machining it, because I try to get a slight crown on this, so it wasn't dead flat. So yeah, I might just do a nice sort of like rolled edge if I can, or something. Or start it with the lathe and then finish it with a file and a burst sandpaper or something. And then I can finish it off here. And do the same on here, just knock it off until we touch these and get a nice little edge on there. So we might go do that. Sweet! Right, so back here, so refaced that edge, sort of radius a little bit, the best I sort of could. I took just took a wee cut out of here, just to give it a wee recess, just to kind of make it look like the centre cap. I'm not 100% sure, you know, I might do something on there later maybe, and then just chamfer this back reasonably well, and I'll just run a file, then a sanding block across these edges, just to round the corners of them a little bit, I guess. So that looks quite good now, you know, with a bit more of a clean up. It'll be nice, you know, and we'll probably give it a half reasonable polish so it's semi-shiny. And that's that, pretty much done. Apart, you know, a little bit of mucking around with the back part, and get that longer bolt and figure a couple of other things out just so it's winds in there nicely, but we'll get out of here. Go do my other jobs I have to do today. Yeah, to be honest, I think if you could get it to look like if it was a little bit deeper here and it was a little bit cleaner, but this is actually quite square, like it's cut quite square, but some of this other stuff, it's not dead square when it's cut, even though I was just winding one handle. Now for backwards and forwards, it seemed to have, almost looks like it's slightly, like it hasn't gone completely square when it's been cutting. So yeah, if it was a bit more of a truer cut, yeah, if it was a bit more of a truer dead square when I've been start with one handle and then go with the other, yeah, it might be alright. But yeah, I just don't trust the thing enough to make that. I'd rather just leave it as it is, and then if we get some city caps made, just give them this and go, can you put the logo on that too? It's just not worth that, making a mess. You know, like it wouldn't be hard to reface, but it's just easier not to, you know what I mean? With that thing, if it was a bit better quality, yeah, I'd do it. I would do it if that wasn't such a piece of crap. It worked with this, you know, because it was easy to clean up, but in there it's not easy to clean up. It would work, you know. I'd end up with I probably could frig around and do it, but it's just it's not going to be how I would really like it to look. I think if we'd bought that $1,700 small mill or one of the $2,500 or $3,000 ones, you'd probably do it all day long with some decent bits and whatever, you know. I think if you had like a little 1 mil piece or whatever that smallest one is, I don't know what size it is. Doesn't matter, but you know, if it was one that was sort of half that size again or a little bit smaller, you could probably go into the corners a little bit more too, and you might better do a little double pass to get a little bit crisper in the corners. But yeah, sure. I'll just finish cleaning this up and get all that other stuff sorted and do a little last alterations. I forgot to go to the bolts. It's no biggie. I can change it at any time. Well, still would like to make that. I might make the piece to go on the back of that, and then I might go another bolt. Which, you know, by the time I muck around and clean this up and do a few little odds and ends to add bits and pieces and make the lock for this bolt that I'm going to weld to it, the head. Yeah, by the time I do that, it'll be probably lunchtime anyway. So yeah, carry on. It was worth a try. Right, I'm just standing here staring at this effing thing. I don't like that this can move around. Obviously when it's clamped up, it's not going to move around, but it's still, and if I just have a bolt or something in the back of it, with a plate in it, it can still move around. I'd like this and this to be able to be clamped together because we're already scratching the crap out of this. Like, I can touch it up, it's not a major fucking problem at the moment, but I can imagine it's going to be a bitch of a thing. So what I'm thinking is cutting the fucking head off this bolt and cutting the head off, well, maybe, it's a shame I frickin' shorten that now, but yeah, and possibly cutting the head off this one or something. Just not really sure. And well, it's really, they'll just go get a fucking longer bolt. I don't think I get a big long bolt. It's got a heap of fucking thread on it. Plan is to weld this into that bar, so that goes through the back of it, or it's a thread through the back of it, that you can do it up with a big fucking nut and like a lock washer, so it can't come loose, but that still stays on the outside. So when you take the clamp off the outside, you can pull your wheel off, slip that on your wheel, take the other one off that's flat, set it back up there, slip the thing on, and it's not all fucking flopping around. Because I don't know how the original one was fucking made. So yeah, it doesn't help. But I'm just thinking that might be the best solution, is to, yeah, is to make it so, weld that in there so it goes on, you can put a fucking nut on it, and then yeah, and then dress it back up and have it so you can just slip that other piece back on there. Like, I could drill a couple of holes in from the side and plug weld them in there too, or something. Like, it doesn't necessarily, I don't necessarily have to fucking do that. I can just wonder if I can get a big Just, yeah, I don't like how it flops around. Look, once you've got it together, it'd be nice just to have it together, if you know what I mean. And it's bolted up tight and it doesn't rattle and all that sort of shit. And then what you do when you're worried about putting that piece on, doing the nut up, locking up tight, instead of everything else coming loose as well. Thinking, yeah, I might do something like that. Whether I fucking weld these together or not, probably not, but you know what I mean. I really want something that's solid so I can just plug weld and maybe bevel that hole out and weld it around it, and then I can clean up the surface around it so that piece sits back on there nice and flat again. Yeah. Right. Next little mission. Right guys, so I have used those 2 bolts. I've welded, cut the head, well, cut bits of the head off. The other one I could have rounded it off and welded in from the bottom. This one here, and then I ground the hole off obviously. I remarked the position of this with a marker pen. I took the head off the bolt, I've chamfered it in, and I've ground it like that so I can try and get a good weld in there. I might have to, I may have to redo this again, but we'll sort it out. It's what I have to do. I just, you know, when you do an alteration, that's what you have to do. So I'll get this welded on, and I'll try and clean up around it the best I can. Get this fitting. If I have to open this up a little bit to get it to go on, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I've got this held in position with 2 nuts on the bolt. So at least I should be able to get it fairly well tapped in, and hopefully it doesn't move around too much. So we'll do that. I'll bring you a bit closer and give you another quick shot before we start welding. So yeah, this is what I've done. So I welded the other one in from this side, and then I basically done the same sort of thing with the head of it. Poked up there, had the nut wound hard down, so it was resting on the nut, welded it in, and then wound the nut back off the other side. If you can see in there, I'll show you when I finish this side. Yeah, and then weld this in, so yeah, I might just have to remove this pin because it's welded in as well, so. But yeah, if I put another one on, I might make it slightly bigger, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. You know, I'll carry on. We'll get it welded in there and clean it up. Right, problem solved. Let's just open that hole out there to 3/4. It was slightly over 5/8. That hole there was 3/4. But yeah, it just gives it a little movement now. And once it's done up, you know, once it's done up like that, it's never going anywhere until you release them again. So. Hopefully that thread never pulls out of there. Should be alright, you know. For the amount of times it's going to be off and on, I think it'll be fine. It's got a fair bit of engagement now. Should be plenty. God, I brought the varieties back over here before, didn't I? Thought. Well, it's still over here. Roll it a bit. So we've now got, we could go on further, but we've now got basically an inch, a bit over an inch of thread in here. Now we can go probably another 3/8, I think. I think we had 37 mil. We're about 25 at the moment or so. Yeah, we can almost go another ½ an inch, but I think that should be plenty. It's more than we had before with that same bolt, so yeah, should be fine. Sweet. I'm sure if there's any flaws in the design, it can be resurrected later on. You know, that defined it just comes loose or something like that, you know, down the track when it's driving or whatever. You know, it can always be improved, and you know, you could always you could cut this off, put a bigger bolt through it. We could wind this out, put it, you know, open it out to 3/4, no problems at all. All those sorts of things, you know, put a bigger bolt in there, really wanted to, or whatever. Could make it a bit longer, so a bit more thread to hold on to. But I think it should be fine. We'll go do a final test fit. We've got a nut we can put on the back of that. Now that'll hold on to that. I might make a little, I might make a rubber gasket to go in behind here, just between that and the other piece. Out of that bit of rubber for the final assembly. You know, after we touch up the paint and everything, if we put just a little rubber gasket in there, at least that'll stop it from rubbing together and chipping. You know, I could even do the same in here too. You know, I could even put a little. Really, you could put a little rubber gasket in that, but I don't think it's probably a great idea. Probably better off just being hard up against it and just doing it up tight. I could possibly, so I might just run that on the belt and maybe just make sure that is flat. And because I have welded it and played around with it there, I know that's probably not dead flat now, but not much I can do about that. But I'll run the belt over that and just make sure that's flat and take any high spots off and whatever. At least it will sit flat and you know that can't move around too much. So I'm trying to improve that situation, but yeah, I think it'll be fine. Hopefully it's grown enough to withstand a decent tweak up and whatever. Only time will tell. The worst comes to worst, cut those two pieces off and put a 3/4 bolt through it. instead of 5/8 to give you a wee bit more purchase. But we'll go do a test fit. Nice nut with me. The one I've had the angle grind in there a few times. And we'll do a test and we'll just see how we get on. I might just give this a quick sand up on the back. Just make sure it's flat on the old belt. I'll need another belt at some point, but yeah. We can do a bit of a test here. Come back in a minute. Right, so we cleaned the back of that up, run that on that belt sander for a bit, made sure it was flat. Quickly made a wee rubber gasket to go on there so we can test fit that. Yeah, so we'll bolt it all together, we'll do it all up tight. We'll just work out how I'm going to, that bracket, I'll probably squeeze it up nice and tight too. I'll have to find a socket and that to do that, just make sure that all up tight. But yeah, so that will go on here. Rock and roll. Fish and chips. Biscuits and gravy. Right, done. Alrighty, so back after lunch. So back after lunch. So we got all that sorted. I've got to pull it apart, clean it up, get it ready for paint and whatever. Need to get some other stuff ready to paint, likes of the diff when I get the bits back. But we've added the distributor here, just a little bit more modern. This one's still a point one, but they do make electronic versions of these. Or you could probably buy a kit and make it electronic. But this is very, very well similar in this dimension here, like that one, and the shaft size, it's close in the middle. We might have to get another one of these made, but slightly smaller on the shaft size. So I'm going to punch this roll pin out of here, take this fibre gear off, and see how close this is to fitting in here and whatever. I have to take this apart and turn this down a little bit. I'm not sure. Get it to fit in here. This has got like a little tool so it doesn't run away. Oh, it's fully good. That's for the pin to lock it. It's a good idea. So yeah, we'll have to do a few little modifications to this to make it work. So yeah, this is a GM product off a Holden 6-cylinder, which is fairly common. Well, I wouldn't say it's fairly common, but it was very common back in the 70s and right through this, from the 60s, 70s and 80s. And then they disappeared in the 90s. But they're still as common as mud, really, like in all the old Holdens and stuff like that. There's still a lot of people running them, so the parts are regularly available for this. It would be nice to have it a bit more genuine, but if the bits of this are so freaking hard to get, like some of the other pieces are, to make something a wee bit more modern, you just have to do what you have to do sometimes. We might be able to hook up vacuum advance to it. Assume we might be able to run a small line into the manifold and take manifold somewhere. There is a hole in here, so we might be able to tap a little air line and bleed into here somewhere, so we can pull a intake vacuum to work the advance. Whether we have to do that or whether we lock it out, just lock the vacuum advance and just have it like a manual advance. I don't know. Probably vacuum advance would be just as good. But yeah, so we'll see if we can make this fit. We'll see how close it is to fitting. It is pretty close, but just see how close it is and see if we can maybe. So I've got a gear here still. Shows the gear really. Some box bits or a drive, not a gear. So I've got one of these here, so we'll better see how far away that is from fitting. It's fucking not far away at all, really. It's kind of scary, to be honest. But yeah, we'll take this off and see if we can make it work. Right, well. Let's see, and let's get this gear off. Fits. The shaft's a touch short. Whether that'll not matter or not, I don't really know. It probably wouldn't matter that it was just slightly short. I don't think it'll make a cur of a difference. So if I open this up, if I can, the same size as this, or we can turn it around and re-drill it if we had to, but if I can open, we'll drill this, the same hole in that, into that. I wonder if I should turn it, just to give it a little bit more space and just move the hole down slightly. Move it down very, very slightly, because it'll bloody work perfectly. It's marginally too small, that shaft, and I'm talking just a whisker. Like you can move it, but barely. I mean, if you had the pin in it, would probably be fine. And this piece here fits in, and it's very, very slightly. It's loose. But this piece here with an extra little bit of material is slightly too big, so we need to turn that down a little bit. And see if we can make that fit. Alright, we're going to take all these bits around and see if we can make this piece fit. I've drilled the hole in the little drive, open that up so I can put that back on later when we get back around. See if we can make it fit. Alright, so around here at the old NZ Mopar Outlaw Kustoms dad's workshop. Got the Dizzy housing, or the distributor up in the lathe. So got in here. I did take the vacuum advance off it because I'm just a bit worried about when I'm coming in with this maybe getting fouled on like the bed. I thought it might have been alright. It probably would clear, but just with this being in close, you know, and coming into cut, it could, you know, by the time you wind shit in, she might just smash her off, so we'll avoid that. So yeah, we'll try and come in here and just take a little bit off. I might have to do sort of one pass and then adjust the tip and a little bit and take a little bit more off up the top, just to get it to cut, because it's such a, you know, I haven't, just to get it all, but yeah, it's about all I can do. Freaking crazy. So yeah, I drilled that hole out, so that'll sit do like that. It's probably not as deep as it would like to be, but I can always turn this around, make it a little bit deeper if we need to. I'm just going with the original hole and I just opened it up. But yeah, we'll try that first, see if we can get it to work. See if we can get engagement and all the rest of those things. Righty, so I haven't got the gear on here yet, but we'll see if it fits in the hole, eh? That's right. Wind it out. So we'll take it right out of the road. Look at that. Look at that. Now, funnily enough, there's actually a hole in here. I wonder how fucking close that is. Because that's what it's one of the other ones too. For a similar reason, probably. Are you gotta be fucking kidding me? So. Put that drive gear in there. I'm fucking laughing.
5 minutes later.
It was too fucking easy. Can we do that again? I really, we could probably turn that around. So this is pointing a better direction. Hopefully something more like that might be better. Okay. Right, a button. Check on. Freaking way that sits around. Come on. We'll call it done. Too easy. Too easy. I like little jobs like that. Got a wooden fucking something, I suppose. But yeah, that's cool. Much higher is it than the original? Will be quite a bit higher. Oh, yeah, it is. It's a bit higher. But what do, you know? You stick with the original thing and try and make it work and try and find the parts. Or use something that's still really available, can get parts for. And if we had to put another one in it, well, shit, it's, you know, it's a half an hour, an hour's job roughly. Get the old pinion off it, open out the frickin', well, you don't even have to open out the hole, put the drive back on it, take that round to somewhere with a lathe and, you know, shave a frickin' a little bit off it and slide her in the hole and be done with it. Simples. Yep. Oh, we'll take it as a win.
Welcome to Iron Outlaws. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.